Namaskar, friends. Welcome to the channel JIV and CIV Made Simple. This is our MSME 23rd May 2026 memory-based question and answer session. In our channel, you will get all other previous year memory-based question. You can go through those video. This video will help you understand what are the important topic based on which questions are being asked, right? So that you can modify your preparation accordingly. So let's get started with some questions. I will explain each and every options along with their logic. So the first question is on your screen, that which of the following combination of business organization possess the legal characteristics, right, of perpetual succession. Yeah, who possess the legal characteristics of perpetual succession? That is what the question is all about. Option they have given. The first option is sole proprietorship and Hindu undivided family, registered partnership firm, and the limited liability partnership and private limited company, cooperative society, and unregistered partnership firm. These are the four options they have provided. So, friends, first of all, let me tell you the correct answer of this question. The correct answer is yes, option number C, LLP and private limited company. But why? Let's decode this so that you never forget it. So, first of all, look at the heavy jargon legal term here. The term here is the perpetual succession. First of all, let's look at it. Perpetual succession. Right. So if you split the word perpetual means permanent. Right. The word perpetual means permanent, or we can call it never ending, or we can call it, everlasting. That is what perpetual means. And if we talk about the succession, it means one person taking over from another. Right. That is called succession. One person taking from another. Right. So to understand this, think of a typical bank branch. The branch manager get transferred, the cashier retire, the new staff member join. But does the bank branch closes down just because the staff changes? Absolutely not. The branch continue to function exactly as before. Yeah. So you can understand the perpetual section like this. So the branch manager get transferred, the cashier retire, the new staff member join. The branch does not closes down just because the staff change. The branch continue to function exactly as before. In business law, perpetual succession means exactly this. Member may come, member may go, but the business go on forever. Yeah, the key word is business go on forever. Now, if a business has perpetual succession, it has its own independent legal life. Even if all the owner or shareholder die or go bankrupt or loses their mind, the business itself continue to live. It is completely separate from the breathing human who run it. Right? That's the point. So now if we analyze the option they have provided, so let's look at option number A. It's talking about the sole proprietorship and Hindu undivided family. So this is one man show. Sole proprietorship, we can call it one man show. If the owner passes away, the business legally dies with them. Sole proprietorship is just like one man show. If the owner passes away, the business legally die with them. There is no separation between the owner and business. Yeah, the keyword is no separation between the owner and business in the case of sole proprietor. So this is not the answer. Now let's look at the option number B. Let's talk about the registered partnership firm. And option number D is talk about cooperative society. Right. So in the case of standard partnership, if one partner dies or goes bankrupt, that specific legal partnership is automatically dissolved. You know it very well that partnership get dissolved if one partner die. Right. And even if the surviving partner decide to continue, they have to create a brand new partnership agreement. So the old business did not survive. Yeah, similar thing is there, unregistered partnership firm also. So this is wrong, this is wrong. Okay. So the correct answer is limited liability partnership and private limited company. They form the legal characteristics of perpetual succession. So how do you remember it? So you can remember it, legal robot rule. Yeah, to remember the perpetual succession rule, think about, ask yourself, who gave birth to this business? Right. If a human gave birth, think about it. If a human gave birth to the business, right, just by starting to sell thing like a proprietor, think about proprietor, because in the case of proprietor, human give birth to a business. Or think about the normal partnership, right? So the business die when the human die. So human die, so it the business will die. Now if the law gave birth to the business, yeah, now human is not giving the birth. If the law is giving birth to the business, right, through a formal registration and incorporation process, like that happened in the case of LLP, or that happened in the case of company, right? So then it is a legal robot. This is called the legal robot. Okay, because the law gave birth to it, only the law can kill it. Okay, the law gave birth, only law can kill it, right, through a legal process called winding up. Human debt does not affect the legal robot, right? So private limited company and LLP are both created by the law, therefore they have perpetual succession. So please understand, option number B is the correct answer. So what we learned from this particular question? Yeah, we learned that perpetual succession simply means the business has uninterrupted life, regardless of what happened to its owner. And companies and LLP, have perpetual succession because they are separate legal entity created by the law. I told you, na, this company, these LLP, right? They are separate legal entity created by the law. And the third point I told you about the sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship means what? They do not have it because their legal existence is tied directly to the physical owner. So remember, I hope that is crystal clear. Now have a look at the question number two. Question number two is all about the partnership firm and firm rule and liabilities. Right. So, friends, this is the question. The question is, read the following statement regarding the right, liabilities, and restriction of the partner in a traditional partnership firm governed by the Indian Partnership Act 1932. Which of the following statement is incorrect? Okay, I am again emphasizing on the word incorrect. You have been asked to select which statement is incorrect. Okay, the four statement they have provided. The first one is, the liability of all partner toward third parties for act of the firm is unlimited, joint, and several, meaning creditor can recover due. They are asking which of the following statement is incorrect. Right. Option number A they have given the liabilities of all partner toward third party for the act of the firm is unlimited, joint, and several. Right. They have mentioned it. Then option number B they have given an incoming party is a partner admitted to an existing firm is automatically liable for all the debts and act of the firm incurred before they become a partner. Then option number C, if a partner without consent carries on, a competing business, they must pay to the firm all the profit made. And option number D, a partner cannot transfer their share in the firm to an outsider and make them a full partner without unanimous consent. So now, let me first tell you the correct answer. The correct answer is option number B. Now, friends, let's break down exactly why this is false and why the other option are true. So let us use a simple branch banking analogy to understand this particular question. Imagine that you are newly posted to a bank branch as a branch manager. You are posted as a branch manager. Are you held personally responsible for a massive bad loan that was approved by the previous manager 3 years before you arrived? So suppose your previous BM, right? They have approved you know bad loan, right? They have approved a loan that got bad, right? And that is 3 years ago. So tell me, in this particular case, are you held responsible? Of course not. You are not responsible for the file sanction after you take charge, right? You are only responsible for the file that is sanctioned after you take the charge. So the exact same logic apply to an incoming partner. See this same similar simple logic. So the same logic apply to an incoming partner in a business. By default, a new partner is only liable for the act of the firm done after they step through the door. Right. So remember, a new partner is only liable. Incoming partner is only liable. Right. For what? For the act of the firm, right, done after they step through the door. They are not punished for the history they were not a part of. So now let's quickly understand why the other option are correct, incorrect. First of all, option number A say the word they have given unlimited, joint, and several liability, right? In a traditional partnership, liability is unlimited, right? In the case of traditional partnership, they we have unlimited liability. Right. If a business take a loan and default, creditor can literally come after a partner personal house, car, or saving to recover the money. Right. So in the case of traditional partnership, we have unlimited liability. Suppose the business take a loan and default, so creditor can literally, come after a partner personal house, car, or saving to recover the money. Yeah, that's what creditor can do. Creditor can come after partner personal house, right? So now the word they have written here, joint and several. Let me show you. They have mentioned here, right? Joint and several, which means what, that it means the bank can choose to recover the entire amount from just one wealthy partner if they want to. Yes, one wealthy partner bank can recover the amount. So yes, this is completely correct. This is true with respect to the partnership. Now have a look at the option number C. Option number C keyword they have mentioned is the competing business, right? So you cannot be a partner in a business and secretly run a rival competitor on the side. See, these are the two words. The first word is, you cannot be a partner in a business. You cannot be a partner in a business and secretly run a rival competitor, right, on the side. If you do, the law say you must surrender all the profit from that secret business back to your firm, right? So that's called that is the meaning of the word competing business. You cannot be a partner in a business and secretly run a rival competitor on the side. If you do so, the law says you must surrender all the profit from that secret business back to your firm. So yes, option number C is also correct. That is what they have mentioned, right? So this is correct, and this is wrong. Then we have been asked which is incorrect, then B is the correct answer, right? And then option number D talks about the transfer of the share. Let me highlight the keyword. Yeah, option number D talks about the transfer of the share. This is the keyword. So a partnership is built on deep mutual trust. Yeah, see the keyword I'm mentioning here. Remember, partnership is built on what, deep mutual trust, right? You cannot just sell your share to a random stranger and force your partner to work with them, right? Everyone must unanimously agree to let a new person in. So remember, how do you remember? So this is a brain jugaad. To instantly remember the liability of a new partner, just remember the rule. The rule is time travel, no time travel rule, which means a new partner cannot time travel. So what I mean to say that whatever past debt is there, right? So this is the past partner headache. Past debt means past partner headache, right? And what about the new partner? Yeah, new partner is only future liability only, right? Future liability only. So when they walk in, they start with a completely clean state. I hope that is crystal clear, right? So pay very close attention to the word automatically in the option number B. You can see what they have mentioned, that incoming partner admitted to an existing firm is automatically liable for all the debt and act of the firm. No, 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 that's completely wrong. See, when an incoming partner is not automatically liable for old debt, they can choose to take them on if a specific new contract is created between the old partner, new partner, and the creditor. But remember, this requires a special agreement. It never happen automatically. See the word they have mentioned automatically. This is the word. Yeah, if they made a contract, it is possible, but they have not made a specific agreement, right? So remember, if you see this word automatically tied to the past debt, mark it incorrect immediately. So to wrap it up, what are the key revision points? We talked about the incoming partner. Start with a clean slate, no automatic liability for past debt. We talked about liability in a traditional firm. Liability is unlimited. Personal assets are always at risk. We talked about competition. Secretly competing against your own firm is not allowed. Profit must be returned. We talked about new admission. Nobody can enter the partnership without 100% unanimous consent from the existing partner. These are the points which we have made clear. Now, friends, before moving to the next question, let me introduce you to our MSME comprehensive course, which includes PDF, videos, mock test, and every content in this particular course have been prepared as per the recent syllabus. As you can see, there are 15 units and there are separate theory PDF folder inside. I have categorized them into 4 modules. Inside them, there are unit-wise PDF, separate theory PDF, separate MCQs PDF. In addition to that, previous year question files are there, almost 11 PDF starting from 2025. All memory based questions have been added, which will help you see the level of the paper being asked. Separate quizzes folder are there, in which you can attempt the quizzes, right, as per your convenience. And videos folders are there, which explain each and every concept in the very lucid term. If you want to get access to this particular course, you can check out the link in the description section, or you can WhatsApp me on the number shown on the screen. Let's move to the question number 3. This is the type of case study question being asked in the examination. So this is a highly practical case study. Let's look at the case snippet. They talk about the XYZ Polymer Limited. They use a huge chunk of their cash credit limit, right? So, they utilize a substantial portion of their existing cash credit limit to do what? To buy new heavy machinery, to purchase the new heavy machinery, right? Because their fresh term loan was delayed. Clearly, they have mentioned because they were unable to purchase adequate raw material, failed to pay. Okay, so their fresh term loan, you can see due to delay in the sanction of the fresh term loan, because their fresh term loan was delayed, so they utilize a substantial portion of the CC limit. Soon after, raw material price shoot up. Yeah, you can see the cost of raw material surged globally, right? They could not buy material. They failed to pay creditor. They defaulted on the interest and become an NPA. Because the price increased, they could not buy the raw material, right? They eventually classified as NPA and declared sick. The question asked, based on the failure, which of the following statement is incorrect? Incorrect, right? Option A, short term source of fund must strictly be used for short term application. First point. Option B, utilizing unutilized working capital limit to temporarily fund fixed asset creation is a prudent financial strategy. This is option B. Option C, aggressive capital expansion without adequate contingency planning leads to a cash flow mismatch. And option D, external economic volatility severely impact firms that have depleted their liquidity buffer. So friends, what is the correct answer? Yeah, we have been asked incorrect. So answer is option number B. To understand this, let's bring it back to the basic branch banking analogy. In banking, money comes in, two main flavor. Yeah. To the context of banking, I'm talking about, money comes in two flavor. What are those two flavor? Yes. The first is called the short term loan, and the second is called the long term. Short term and long term. So when we talk about the working capital or when we talk about the CC, right? So these are the short term. You know, these are the short term loan. It is given strictly for day to day operation, buying raw material, paying electricity bill, and paying staff salary. That is why working capital is given, right? And when we talk about the term loan, as the name suggests, this is a long term money, right? Which means they are given for building factories, buying heavy machinery, purchasing land, etc. So what XYZ Polymer did is a classic case of diversion of fund. Yeah, this is what we call the diversion of fund. They took a short-term CC money, which is meant for daily survival, and locked it inside heavy machinery. That is what they did. CC money, they have locked it inside the heavy machinery. Imagine you take your monthly grocery budget and use it to buy a new television. What will happen next week? You have a great TV, but your family is starving. That is exactly what happened to this MSME. They had shiny new machine, but no grocery money left to buy the plastic raw material to run them. When the raw material price surged, their grocery budget was already zero. Right? The factory stopped and they become an NPA. So this is what has happened. Right? This is what has happened. So how to remember? This is I'm giving you a brain jugaad to instantly lock this concept in your mind for the examination. So what is the rule? Remember this SSLL rule, which means when I say SSLL, what does it mean? So it means short term fund. Short term fund is for short term use only. SS, short term fund, short term use, right? Like example I've given CC for raw material, and LL means what? Long term fund. Long term fund, that is to be used for long term use only. So L and L, right? So if you ever cross them, if you use short term fund for long term asset, you choke the oxygen supply for the business. The business will suffocate and die. It is never a prudent or a smart strategy, right? So in the option number B, if you look at the option number B, the examiner used the fancy positive sounding word like temporary fund, temporarily fund, prudent financial strategy, right? But to trick you thinking, well, maybe it was a smart temporary adjustment to save life, to save time. But warning is that do not fall for this IIBF trap. If the eye of the credit in the eye of the credit monitoring, using CC limit for fixed asset is never a prudent strategy. It is a major red flag and an outright violation of the long and use condition. Option A correctly state that SSLL rule, short term source, short term application. Exactly. Option C correctly point out that expanding without a cash backup is very dangerous. Yeah, aggressively capital expansion without contingency planning is very dangerous. Correct. So B is wrong, and that is why this is correct. And D correctly note that a business with no cash buffer will easily be crushed by the market price shock. That is what has happened to this particular firm. So to wrap it up, right? This is the core takeaway. Fund matching. Always match the life of the loan with the life of the asset. That is the rule SSLL rule. Second point, cash credit purpose. CC is the daily breathing air for the business. Lock into your machine and a business suffocate. And then beware of the phrases that justify diversion of the fund as a temporary smart move. It is always direct part to an NPA. I hope that is crystal clear. Now, friends, let's talk about the internal versus external factor of business failure. This is again question. This is all about the cash flow death trap. So the question they have asked here is that the sickness or failure of an MSME, right? Okay, is often attributed to the combination of internal and external factor. From the perspective of a lending bank, yeah, from the perspective of a lending bank assessing a sick unit, right? Which of the following statement represent external factor for business failure, right? So option they have given: inadequate technical know-how leading to selection of obsolete machinery, willful diversion of working capital fund to sister concern, persistent strained relation with now option number C says that sudden change in the government tariff policy resulting in dumping of cheaper cheaper imported alternative, and option D says persistent strained relation with the recognized labor union resulting in a factory lockout. And the correct answer, it is none other than option number C. Let's decode how to perfectly identify internal versus external factor every single time. So to understand this, let's use a simple driving analogy. Imagine you are driving a car on a highway. When we talk about the internal factor, internal factor, basically, these are everything happening inside the car that you get. Everything happening inside the car, right? So imagine you are driving a car on a highway. Everything that is happening inside the car, that's called the internal factor, right? So basically, if you forget to put petrol in the tank, if you refuse to service the engine, or if you take your hand off the steering wheel and crash, that is an internal failure, isn't it? That is the kind of internal failure because you did not put the petrol, you did not you did not service the engine. So and then the car crashes, that's called internal failure. It is your fault. This is called your fault. Okay, now let's look at the external factor. So when I say external factor, these are the things happening outside the car that you have zero control over. Suppose if a massive thunderstorm suddenly hit. Yeah, think about a thunderstorm. Suppose a massive thunderstorm suddenly hit, or suppose a tree fall on the highway, or if the government suddenly closes the road. Suppose the government closes the road, right, for construction. So that's called external factor. You could not have stopped it no matter how good a driver you are. So in business, management is the driver. So in the case of business, who is the driver? Management is the driver. Okay. So internal factor means what? Bad management decision. Yeah. Whenever I talk about the internal factor, I mean to say bad management decision, fraud, or we can call it operational failure. Many operational failure arise. These are internal. And if you look at the external factor, it means government policy, right? Global economy, natural disaster, or changes in the law. Now let's look at the option one by one through this lens. Whatever lens I have provided, let's look at the option through this lens. Option number A, they say choosing the obsolete machinery. So the management bought the wrong car. They made a bad internal decision. So we have been asked to find the external factor. So A is wrong. B says diversion of the fund. They are given what diversion of the fund. So the management deliberately stole the petrol, stole the fund. So this is an internal fraud. Now labor union locket, as you can see, they have mentioned here, right? Labor union lockout. So the driver is fighting with the passenger. Employee relation are the direct responsibility of the internal HR management. So this is also incorrect. Yes, government tariff policy change. This is the correct answer, right? The government suddenly opened the border to cheap foreign goods. The business owner has zero control over what the prime minister or finance minister decide. This is purely an external shock, right? So how to remember the internal and external factor? Just there's a trick. You can just use this. Just ask this. Just apply. Could the CEO stop it? Read the option and ask yourself, could the CEO or the business owner have prevented this by making a better decision inside their own office? If yes, so two options are there. If yes, it means they could have bought better machine, treated worker better, or not stolen money. Then it's called internal factor. And if no, if they cannot dictate government law, global pandemic, international war, then it is called external factor. So pay very close attention to option number D. In the option number D, they have mentioned, labor union lockout. This is one of the most common traps set by the IIBF examiner. Many students see the word union and think union is outside the political body, so a strike must be external factor. Do not fall for this trap. In banking and business analysis, maintaining healthy labor relation is considered a core duty of the internal management. If the worker goes on a strike, it is counted as a failure of the internal HR management. So labor issue are always internal. I hope that is crystal clear. So we talked about the internal factor, we talked about the external factor of the business failure. Now have a look at the question number 5, which pertains to HRM, or so-called training and development. So friends, let's look at the question. Read the following statement regarding hiring, training, employee development within the context of the micro, small, and medium enterprise. Which of the following statement is incorrect? Yeah, they have been asked to find the incorrect statement. Option number A: due to budget constraint, MSME typically, rely heavily on informal on-the-job training. Option number B: in HR terminology, training focus on long-term holistic growth of the employee for future leadership role, while development focus on impartial, specific technical skill for the current job. So as you can see that they have been asking question as per the recent syllabus. Earlier these used to be not, HRM is not, was not part of the this MSME, but now it is part of the MSME. Right. Option C: a major HR challenge for MSME is the poaching of their talent. And option D: implementing the robust performance appraisal and reward system can help an MSME reduce employee turnover. So now, since this is a part of our MSME curriculum, that's why I have updated the syllabus in our course accordingly. I have updated all the content as it is provided in the new syllabus. You get the updated content. Now, friends, what is the correct answer here? The correct answer here is, miss, the statement that is completely false is option number B. Right. To understand why option B is incorrect, we need to look at how it completely flipped the definition of training and development. Let's use a simple banking analogy to understand it. Right. Imagine that you just joined a bank, right? And they teach you how to operate the new cash counting machine. Yeah, they teach you how to operate a new cash counting machine, right? Or how to use the NEFT software. Yes, that is what they teach you, right? So this is what we call training. This is called the training. It is a short term, highly specific, right? See the keyword I am giving. The first keyword is short term, right? Highly specific, and entirely focus on making you better at the job. Yeah, this is focus on the making you better at the job that you are doing. That's called training. Now imagine the journal manager notices you are very smart. You are starting, and the journal manager notices that you are very smart, and they start mentoring you on the leadership. Yeah, they start mentoring you on the emotional EQ, emotional intelligence, and the strategic planning, because they want you to become the branch manager in the 5 year. What they want to do, they want you to become branch manager in 5 year. So that's called development. That is called the development. So the keyword is long term, right? The keyword is holistic, right, and focused on the future. So if you look at the option number B, what they have provided, option number B has swapped these two definitions. It claimed training is for future and development is for current technical need. Right? They are seen, training is for future and development is for current technical need. This is completely wrong. This is completely backward, and that is our incorrect answer. So how to remember it? This is a brain jugaad I have just provided. So T for training and T for today. Okay, so fixing your skill for your current job today, that's called training. And if you really think that these trick are helping you out, don't hesitate to hit the like button. Do hit the like button. This will motivate me to make more such content for you. And D for what? Development. D for development, and D for what? Destiny. Yeah, this is how you can remember it. So building the overall personality for your future destiny and leadership role, that's called the development. So when you see this word, just say today, just say destiny in your head, and you will spot the correct answer instantly. So let's quickly look at why the other option are Why the other statement are absolutely true for MSME? So option number A talks about, on the job training, right? MSME is very small business, right? They don't have the budget to send staff to five-star hotel for a 1 week seminar. They teach you while you are actually working on the ship floor, on the shop floor, basically. That's called, on the job training. Then comes poaching. The second word they have written is called the poaching, right? So this is the biggest headache for an MSME. They spend time teaching a fresh graduate how to work, and as soon as the employee get good, a massive corporate company offer them 30% hike and poaches them away. Yeah, let's talk about option C. Let's look at the poaching. And D talks about the appraisal, right? So even a small MSME can stop this poaching if they just praise their employee and give them fair performance based bonus. Good behavior rewarded is good behavior repeated. I hope that is crystal clear. So let's summarize our golden rule for this HR topic. We talked about the training. Training means today, right? Short term, technical, and for the current job. We talked about the development. Development means destiny. Long term, holistic, and for future leadership, right? And the reality of MSME is that, they rely on cheap on the job training and constantly suffer from big company poaching their talent. Now, have a look at the question number 6, which is the barrier, to adopting sustainability and market trending. So that's called, overcoming the comfort zone and barrier to the MSME growth. So, let's read the scenario here. Many MSME are aware of the importance of environmental sustainability and, emerging digital market trend. However, if an MSME promoter refuses to upgrade primarily because the unit is currently generating comfortable profit and promoter does not want to disrupt ongoing operation, this reluctance is best categorized as, yeah, they refuse to upgrade because the unit is generally comfortable, currently generating comfortable profit. Reluctant, so this reluctant is best classified as financial barrier, technological barrier, behavioral barrier, and regulatory barrier. And the correct answer is option number C, behavioral barrier. To understand this, let's use an analogy we see in our bank branch every single day. How to remember this? Yeah. Imagine a senior staff is there who has been manually updating passbook and ledger for 20 years. So think about a senior staff. And you know what he has been doing? He has been updating passbook and ledger for 20 years. One day, head office introduces a brand new super fast automated software. Yeah. Head office introduces a brand new super fast automated software. But this staff member refuses to use it. Why? Because it is not because the branch does not have the budget. It's because the head office did not provide the rule. Yeah. Head office, they did not provide the rule. That's why, this staff member refuses to use it. They refuse because their old way is working just fine. They are comfortable. They simply don't want the headache of learning something new. This is exactly what is happening to the MSME promoter in this question. Yeah, MSME promoter. This is exactly what is happening here, right? The business is already making comfortable profit. The promoter has fallen into the trap of thinking, if it is not broke, don't fix it. In business terminology, this is called the status quo. This is called the status quo inertia, a fancy way of saying laziness caused by being too comfortable. Because this is an attitude problem, it is classified as a behavioral barrier. Yeah, this is an attitude problem, and this is classified as a behavioral barrier. Please understand. Let's quickly rule out the other option to be absolutely sure. Option number A talks about the financial barrier. This would be answer if the question say the promoter want to upgrade but cannot get a bank loan. Yeah, the problem is the wallet. So this is not here problem here. Now, technological barrier. This would be the answer if the question said the promoter bought the new sustainable machine but cannot find a skilled engineer to run them. So the problem is the knowledge. That's not the answer. Now, regulatory barrier. This would be the answer if the question say the promoter want to upgrade but the government pollution control board rule are too confusing. The problem is the law. This is not the case. Yes, the case is, behavioral barrier. Now, what is the brain jugaad to remember it? So just, just apply the wallet versus mindset rule. Just apply this rule. On one side, you have wallet. On other side, we have the mindset. Wallet versus mindset rule. When you read a case study about MSME refusing to upgrade, look for the root cause. Yeah. What you look for the root cause. What is the root cause? So if the business is crying about the money, if it is money, then it is financial. If it is, if the business is crying about the skill, that's called the technological. If the business say I'm already happy, leave me alone, That is pure behavioral. Yeah, that is pure behavioral. Pay close attention to the word upgrade, an emerging digital trend in the first sentence. This is the classic IIBF, examiner trap. They throw in heavy technology word to tempt you selecting option B, technological barrier. But you have to read the entire sentence. The promoter is not failing because the technology is too hard. They are failing because they are satisfied and they don't want to disrupt the operation. Always find the reason for the refusal, not just the topic. I hope that is crystal clear. Now have a look at the question number 7. Again, performance appraisal and employee development. So friends, let's look at the question. In the context of the human resource management within an MSME, which of the following statement most accurately reflect the developmental purpose of a performance appraisal system? Option A. Again, you can see lot many questions are being asked from the HRM aspect of this topic. That is what our new syllabus, talks about. Option A say it serves primarily as a documented legal defense for the management to justify the termination of an underperforming staff. Option B, it acts like a diagnostic tool to identify individual skill gap, thereby aligning employee learning and development initiative with the firm future goal. Option C, it is purely administrative exercise, right? Mandated by the labor authority to determine the mandatory annual statutory bonus. And option D, it focuses exclusively on ranking employee to create a highly competitive internal environment that automatically weed out the weakest performer. So let's decode why performance appraisal are all about growth, not punishment. So to understand this, take a step away from the bank for a minute and think about going to a doctor for a routine full blood test. Yeah, suppose you are going to a doctor for what, for a routine full body blood test. When your blood test report comes back, what is the doctor primary goal? The doctor is not looking at the report to legally kick you out of the hospital, right? If you look at the option A, it is exactly the same. What option A is telling? It's served primarily as a documented legal defense. No. The doctor is not looking to option A. That is what I'm talking about. So this is not the correct answer. And the doctor is not doing just to fill out government paperwork. That is option C. To determine the mandatory annual statutory bonus. No. This is another song. And the doctor definitely is not comparing your report with the guy sitting next to you to see who survived in the fact in the fight. So the doctor look at the report as a diagnostic tool. Yeah, whatever report you provide them, doctor look at it as a diagnostic tool, right? They see that your vitamin D is low or your cholesterol is high. These are your skill gap, and they prescribe the right vitamin and diet. That's your learning and development, so that your body get stronger for the future. See, first of all, doctors take your skill gap, right? So let me write down the keyword. They look at the skill gap, and based on the skill gap, they determine basically learning and development. That's called the right vitamin and diet. That's called learning and development, so that your body gets stronger for the future. So remember, when we talk about the performance appraisal in a business, work exactly the same way. The manager act like a doctor, right? The manager act like a doctor, and the appraisal identify where an employee is struggling, so that the company can provide the right training, helping the employee and firm grow together. That's called the development purpose, right? That is the role of what, appraisal. So you can remember this like 3D rule. So what is the correct answer to this question? Yes, the correct answer is option number B. Yes, it acts like a diagnostic tool, right? So how do you remember? So I'm giving you a brain jugar to remember it for future. So remember, it's just like 3D rule of appraisal. We call it 3D rule of appraisal, which means first of all diagnosis. The first D stand for diagnosis, which means finding the weakness. Yeah, diagnosis means what? You are finding the weakness. Second D stand for direction, which means training them for the future. And the third D stand for never dismissal. That means firing people. Never dismissal. Development means growth. If an option sound aggressive, negative, or purely administrative, it is the wrong answer, right? So pay close attention to how IIBF examiner try to trick you in this specific question. Notice that question is specifically asked for developmental purpose. They have mentioned it, right? Appraisal are sometimes used to calculate bonuses. Option C they have mentioned bonuses, or justify promotion and firing. Option A, right? Those are the real thing, but those are the administrative or evaluative purpose. The examiner is testing If you can separate the positive forward looking developmental goal from the routine paperwork task, always read the adjective before the word purpose in the question. So developmental purpose means what? It is healthy checkup, diagnostic tool for employee to find a skill gap and plan future training, not for punishment, right? The primary goal of appraisal is not to legally fire people or to create toxic cutthroat competition. Just because the statement is somewhat true in the real world does not mean it always answers the specific question, like match developmental with learning and growth. Apply the 3D rule, watch out for the exact phrasing of the question, and you will easily secure your marks. And we have more questions, and the explanation of this question will be available in our paid course. If you want to get such type of question explanation, enroll in our MSME course. For more detail, you can WhatsApp me on this particular number. Right? You can check out the link in the description section. If you want me to bring the part 2 lecture of this particular MSME, just write yes in the chat box. If I get sufficient number of yes, I will immediately bring the part 2 video explaining all the remaining questions. Thank you. Have a very nice day.